is I'm going to hold my loop and I'm going to put my wire in and let it exit out on the other side. Sorry, I was out of camera there a second, guys. And I'm going to hold my loop facing up, be resting my bead right against my looper, being careful not to crush, break my bead. And I'm going to just kind of go ahead, close that, and the wire cut off right there. And straighten it out just a smidge and remove it. And that is the last of my components. So let me see what we're going to do now. So we're going to construct one side at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect my components together. There we go. And then on the bottom, on my third component here, I'm going to go ahead and open this loop, and I'm going to add that closed textured jump ring. So I'm just going to put that right in there and make sure that's closed. I may need to turn these loops. We'll see what happens at the bottom. And that's what I have. I am going to show you what I do to make this fun little swirly component. So this is 20 gauge and it's in black, and because it is just coated, it's a permanently color coded wire. However, I'm going to be very mindful when I am using my metal tools on it, for the simple reason that it will, you know, strip the paint. So I'm going to work hard in this pretty good. And I'm probably going to cut off about something like around, looks like about a 4 to 5 inch piece there. Now I've got that ready to go. Now before, I just changed my mind. Before we get into that, friends, what I'm thinking is I want to get this connected first. So now they're connected with a jump ring. Now my idea is let's get another jump ring involved and go ahead and connect this instead of connecting it to that jump ring, because I think it might be a little too bulky. So we'll try the same 6mm and see how that looks. So I'm going to pop that on the top of my connector. And now we're going to put that through that jump ring we just put on to connect those two sides of the necklace. And we'll make sure that that's nice and closed. And let's see how that looks. Well, I think it looks just cool as a cucumber. Yeah, that looks so cute. Okay. Alrighty, and so now let's make our component, friends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire wrap it directly to this. So let me pull you down, gauge wire. So what I basically do is I'll go in with a very small pair of pliers, and we can just go right to the edge of the wire, and I'll just turn in a loop. And I'll turn in a small loop, but you can make any size you want. And again, I'm kind of trying to be very, very mindful that I am not marring up my wire. It's not wanting to work with it too much. So then I'm going to go to my smallest step here on my bail making, and I am going to take and put that right there with my loop facing away from me. And I'm now just going to go ahead and turn this all the way around. Just like that. Now that's what you have. And now we'll just continue to reposition our wire in the tool and go back and forth with our little swirls. This way, sorry guys. I'm going to go right here where I'm at the edge of my wire with my little swirly over here. And I'm going to, again, just rotate this around this wire all the way over. So now both of these loops are the same size, but we can always fiddle with it and do all kind of fun things. Now I'm going to remove my wire. That's what I have, and every time I put it on the outside, notice how the ribbon portion, this little swirl, it's getting bigger and each section will be bigger. And then we can also go to where we step it down to make it smaller. So now I am going to once again have the wire on the top, and I'm going to put my plier right there. And I'm going to just turn the, pull the wire up and around. The top of that step of my bail making. And that's what I have there. Okay, and so now that's what I have. And now what I want to do, if I want to do more, I can keep going. I think I am going to try to keep it a little bit in scale. I think I'm going to go with just that right there. And so now what I'm going to do is grab my pliers, a pair of chain nose, and then I'm going to go in and kind of squeeze that each little section. I'm just going to pinch them just a little bit. And then I'm going to take this section, I'm going to go over to this loop, and I'm going to kind of squeeze that a little bit, just to where it's kind of a little bit closer together. Okay, and so that's now what I have. Now I'm going to kind of try to center my wire. So what, not kind of try. I'm going to center my wire, so I'm going to kind of try and eyeball it, is what I meant to say, guys. And so I'm going to kind of try to look to where my center is, which is really at this side of my loop. That's really my center. And that's where I'm going to grab my wire, and I am going to pull it up. So I'm going to put my pliers right inside this wire, where my pliers, can you see how this side of them is kind of lining up with this side of my loop here? And we're going to pull this wire straight up, and hopefully that's centered. And so I'm just going to pivot my plier up, and with any luck, I got it centered. Ah, lovely, lovely. Okie dokie, guys. And now, once again, I'm going to kind of take and pinch that together a little bit there. And I might do that again over here. And if we need to straighten things and finagle a little bit, we can certainly do that. Press it down a little with my nylon jog, and because it's coated wire with that black, I don't want to mar it up. So that is what I have. Super easy and cute, right? And now I have my beads I want to put on it. So I'm that fussy. Now here's a cool trick, guys, with this bead cone. This is a really cool, fancy long bead cone, but it's not very wide. So a fun way to stabilize the inside of your bead cone to make it nice and staying on your beads nicely where there's no play is I've taken that 4mm graduated rondelle right there, and that's exactly what that's for. Now we're going to see a peek of my black rondelles, but when I slide this down over it, that 4mm rondelle is literally like holding that to where it'll turn around, but it's not wiggly. Notice how it's not wiggling. It's just, but it'll turn. So fun little way to use a bead cone too. And that's what I have, and I think it looks really, really cool. And so now I'm going to do a wire wrap loop, and we're going to wrap it right here to this guy. So again, you know, I can always finagle with it a little bit when I'm done. But for the most part, I think it looks straight and pretty cool. And so what I am going to do is I am going to grab my chain nose here, and I am going to hold my component this direction to put my right bend in to do a wire wrap loop, so my loop is going the correct way. Then I'm going to come in here with my bail making, and I am going to see if I can get away. I think I can get away with the first step. I'm going to put that right there in that bend and put that up and around, and we'll just do a regular wire wrap loop here. I think that that'll fit, but we're going to check it. Let me pop that open to add my component. Oh yeah, we're fine. And then let me switch hands and get that loop. First, let me get my loop closed, and we'll wrap that up. And then we will cut that off in the back. That is what my necklace looks like. So cute. I love this. Love it.